Welcome to Bryan Callen's Fantasyland, where Hollywood is hard and jealousy's easy, and Bryan has no time for Brendan's silly steezy. Looking back with Callen, where did I go wrong? Looking back with Callen, what the fuck did I do wrong?
I'll tell you my big issue with this is that we're making fun of these successful men, and people are going to tune into this and be like, "What fucking leg do they have to stand on?"
The leg of satire, and my God, it is steel strong. Blind Mike, have you heard that? That is genius. Goddamn, amazing.
You,
DJ Electric. Yes, this one's called.
Us playing those is payback for not playing the whole Bert and Tom thing.
I could have auto-tuned them, but no, we're going to keep those exactly how they are. Low energy is this one. Here we go.
I'm not trying.
You got low energy, huh?
I have low energy.
You suck this podcast.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
This is you. Oh man! And did you watch the Netflix roast? No.
Well,
no. Hold on.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Canelo fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch UFC? No.
No. Well, I spent a lot of time in dreary.
Credit to Shaw, because these guys usually like lift each other up and like kind of ignore the shit that other people would make fun of. Good for Shaw for calling out and being like, "Hey man, everything I'm talking about, you haven't paid attention to, you don't give a fuck about. Why am I carrying this podcast? Like, do something. Pretend to have an interest in what we're talking about."
But he comes dangerously close to triggering Bryan Callen by saying, "You suck this podcast," because what could Bryan Callen possibly come back with?
Well,
So,
I'll tell you, he might as well have just said, "Well, then why don't I just kill myself, Brendan?" Because this is a suicide note. This is a man in need of help.
yes, this is a man who's married. Here we go.
Tacoma, and I was writing the whole time, which means like what I do is I walk back and forth in my Airbnb and daydream and talk to myself. So it's awesome. And then the roast. Now I wasn't asked to do it, which is weird.
But you're not a roaster.
Not a roaster.
Well, hold on. Why is that weird? Hey, Bryan, I wasn't asked to do it either. Is that weird?
Yes, I was not in the Tom Cruise film, but I'm clearly Tom Cruise. What?
It's not weird that Bryan Callen was on no one's mind. Like, if Belichick didn't show up, you know what? They didn't announce Peyton Manning was going to be there. And for a while, I was thinking, that's weird that Peyton Manning isn't there. That's a little weird. A guy in the media that had a rivalry with Brady for so many years, they're so connected. That's weird if Peyton Manning didn't show up. No one was thinking, where the fuck is Bryan Callen? Why isn't he on here?
Seem to have blown up since COVID. And sometimes,
on the roast, you're saying?
Yeah, sometimes it's a little difficult for me to watch how outside the mix I am after my entire life of dedication to a craft and to my business. Well, I'm not in Hollywood anymore. That's a little bit.
You're out.
I'm out, and probably will never get back in. Now here, and I won't get back in.
Yeah,
and so that's tough sometimes when you're 57 and you've worked hard and you had some success, and then see ya.
Sounds like he should have attached his barnacle to a better boat, Brendan. You know what I'm saying?
It's tough. This is basically him yelling, "I got nowhere else to go."
I hear it as, I attach myself to you, Brendan, and my life is over. All these other fuckers attach themselves to good people, solid people.
Yeah, there is some of that where he's.
I was on Children's Hospital.
I'm just stagnant now because all he has is Fighter and the Kid, and he was like a successful actor. You know, like he was in. I don't know, some ABC show, the Goldbergs, I think, the one with Jeff Garland.
Yes, he was the high school coach.
Yeah. So,
PE teacher,
you know,
yes.
He was in like The Hangover and Old School. He's been in a bunch of movies. He was on Mad TV. He had a successful acting career.
Then he met Brendan Schaub.
He was always doing stuff, and then he met Brendan Schaub. But remember, Schaub and Callen have this weird thing where The Fighter and the Kid was a massive podcast. Like when podcasts started getting big.
Oh, we're going to hear about that. We're going to hear about that.
And they have this weird thing of like, they're mad at their audience for not still being there. It's strange. I will say this. I give them credit for like having this out on air where like I kind of respect Callen for just being open and honest and being like, yeah, man, I'm fucking sad. Like my career is not going the way it should be. I do respect that. And I kind of like that he did it and left it in the podcast.
Yes, and you know how it goes. Imagine if you're talking on air, what they're talking about behind the scenes about these career choices. They are both bummed dudes that are still getting some sort of monetary compensation, but it's clearly they're looking at them numbers being like, oh.
And that I get. What I don't get is looking at Tony Hinchcliffe on the roast and being, that should have been me. Like, Hinchcliffe and Andrew Schultz are both 20 years younger than Bryan Callen. Oh, you're breaking up, Hackred.
Yeah, sorry about that. StreamYard again.
Hinchcliffe and Schultz are both 20 years younger than Schultz. I don't understand why he thinks he's in the same demographic.
So I'm Bryan Callen, and they're all your age. So I get Bryan Callen. Like, you have this, like, retrospective look on the decisions of your choices as an artist as you look at these younger people. And he's just like, he is saying, fuck, why did I tie myself to this guy? I could be at that roast right now.
There's some of that, yeah.
But they also veer into Stut Joe territory a little bit. A little bit of the look back. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's hear it.
And then you're on your own. That's a little bit hard.
It triggers you.
Yeah, well, it just reminds me of some things that have gone bad, and
so would you?
It makes me blood red angry.
So when
not for their success, but
no, of course not.
For the world that
No, definitely not that. I'm definitely not mad that they're successful, even though that's entirely what this is about.
Yes. No, you've identified it exactly. So let me throw you off the set real quick.
Oh, does it sound like I'm specifically mad that Schultz and Hinchcliffe were on this roast? Because I am? No, you're wrong. That's way off. How could you even get there?
Yes, even in your CTE-riddled brain, you can figure this out. No, let me shake you off.
Let me just be positive. Hey, let's get positive.
Nope, fake positive.
You gotta lose.
This is fake.
But when you lose everything and you build it back, then you're probably a fully realized.
Oh, Brendan knows fake positivity. He had to sit through that trolling and smile. He knows what it looks like.
Surrounded by it all the time.
Yes, that's his family.
Human being. And that's part of what a lot of successful people do. And that's what they tell themselves before they blow their fucking brains out.
Oh, Jesus.
he's laughing, but there is, like, I give him credit for just being honest and being like, yeah, when I saw these guys on the roast, I wanted to fucking kill myself.
Hey-o.
Here's what's weird. There's not a world where Bryan Callen would have been on that roast. He was never on Comedy Central roast. He's not a roaster. He has no connection to Tom Brady or anyone on that dais. I don't understand why was that the trigger? Like, I can understand looking at certain podcast numbers, or if you look at the careers of like Mark Normand and Shane Gillis, who are now Rogan's new guys, you know? I can understand Bryan Callen looking at them and being like, fuck, that was me once, man. I was in the Rogan crew. My career was skyrocketing, and now I just kind of have the same. I'm stagnant. I have the same numbers. I can't sell out the Vulcan with the schlub next to me. So I get that. It's just I don't get why he looked at the roast and was like, that should have been me and Gronk up there.
Oh, this is a young man's thought, an old man's thought. I'll tell you what he's thinking. I came up with Tom Segura. I came up with Brett. I came up before Hinchcliffe. I came up before a lot of these people, and here I am with Brendan. And there they are on Netflix. I should be there. Trust me, that is every old man's thought. Eventually we get angry because we didn't get the shot. And he got the shot, and he's like, Joe, I'm going to take one of your guys, and I'm going to skyrocket. He picked the wrong guy. Wrong guy.
That's true. I forgot the Bert and Tom angle. Like, I tried to block out, even though we just talked about them, I tried to block out that they were there. But if you look at Bert, Schultz, Tom, and Tony, these are Rogan's guys that he elevated. So I guess that's why Callen's looking at it and saying, like,
they opened for me. You know, it's like this.
It should be me and Joey Diaz up there or something.
And that's why I say he slips into stuttering John territory, because it's like, oh, that should have been mine.
Yeah, that's true.
And so this last clip is called Regrets. I've had a few.
And for a hot second.
Well
A
deserved.
lot of these guys, it's like their
Well
time.
deserved.
So
Their time.
Yeah, so it would have happened.
Oh, they sounded ecstatic to say it's their time. That right there is such a tell. Oh yeah, it's your time. It's your time, motherfucker.
Yeah, hey guys, things have never been better than they are right now.
Don't you see these nice red chairs we have? Everything is fucking great.
Take COVID out of it. Eventually it's going to happen. Like
Things are good. Things are good,
When
though.
guys are so talented and good,
Yeah.
it's going to happen regardless. It's just some take longer.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's just a little
for
bit tough
Tony.
'cause-
It's like now it's his time.
Yes.
Like we had the torch for quite some time.
Yes, my momentum though.
So-
my
so-
momentum in 2019 was fucking on the.
Daddy
old
was finally red
upswing.
hot.
Well, I was so busy. I had sold a show. I was doing another
Hold
show.
on,
I was on.
Whoa. Let's Bryan Callen definitely success and is still successful. Like that's the thing is, whenever we talk about Shaw and Callen and D'Elia, we inevitably get comments from people that just find us through the algorithm that don't know the show at all, and are like, "Oh, you guys are jealous. These guys are successful, and I've never heard of you." The thing is, like, well, then we would just talk about I'd be talking about George Clooney on here. I would just be talking about everyone that's successful. That's not the case. We're just observing things. But yes, absolutely, Bryan Callen's it goes without saying, a much more successful podcaster than I am. But it's weird to have this revisionist history of like, if it wasn't for getting canceled in 2019, I was the most famous comedian on the planet. He really thinks he was on the trajectory of Shane Gillis or Andrew Schultz. Like, he thinks he should have been playing the Garden last weekend. And I mean, you guys in the comments refresh my memory. I just don't think that was the case at all. Like, Bryan Callen
no.
was a successful comedian. I don't think there was ever like, oh, he's the next arena act.
No, but here's the thing. You have one night at the Laugh Factory where they opened for you and then you killed. That's your memory of them. That's my memory of Tom Segura. He would have walked those people out. I saved him. I killed him. So now that Tom Segura is bigger, this is a hard thing to accept as a creator. Because I came up with a bunch of creators here on YouTube about a year ago. And some have had various success. Some have had a great success. And I look at those people and I'm like, fuck you! We came at the same time! How are you? So it's like what Howard Stern said. You can do radio for 30 years and then the janitor walks in and takes your job. Like,
Right.
We are in entertainment. We are not in filing. Like, this actually takes skill that is not on a resume.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a weird case, and the reason I can't relate to it is because I react to things weird, but, like, I'm jealous of people I like. Like, my jealousy is like, fuck, good for him. I wish I had that. It's not like, fuck Tom Segura. Like, I just don't react to things in that way. So it's weird to be sitting at home watching the roast, stewing over something that you were never going to get offered. I don't know why this was the trigger for him, but it is. I give him credit because it's obviously been something bubbling up for the last 5 years. And maybe if I listen to The Fighter and the Kid, this is just what they do every week, maybe? I don't know. But it seems like it's finally come to a head where, and we've talked about them canceling a couple of gigs, Fighter and the Kid live shows, because they're just not selling tickets. And they did the whole fake, like, I just remembered my wife's pregnant. Fuck. And she didn't have the baby. She didn't have the baby at the time, but they still had to cancel the show. But yeah, they're doing this weird thing, and it's tough for me to criticize them for this because I did say at that time, guys, just be honest, and that's what they're doing. So I got to give them credit for just saying, like, fuck, man, my career, it feels like it's in the shitter. And what I would say to Bryan Callen is like, I might not necessarily respect The Fighter and the Kid as a show, but like, they're successful guys. Try and take solace in that, but it's tough,
We would kill for their failure.
Yes, that's the thing is like, I can make fun of Brendan Schaub all day. If I got the same views that he did, I would love it,
Yes.
So yeah, they should try and take some kind of joy in that, but I imagine it's tough when like your friends are just blowing past you.
And I'd say, take this as a lesson, Blind Mike, because you are going to grow. And I think you will pass these guys someday.
Well, thank
And
you.
but just remember, when it shrinks back down, don't focus on the big number, focus on the people who are there, who still love you.
And then I'm like, fucking Electra Fry is in the roast.
She's gonna be there talking shit about the size of your balls. 100%. All right, let's watch more.
2 TV shows. My problem was I didn't know what to do with for real. I was like, I was going to be on 2 shows.
Yep.
And then one of which was like the most popular show on ABC. And then I remember the last show I did at the Palm Beach Improv. I sold so many tickets. They were going to add another show.
Yeah.
I was selling out in Denver before the wheels hit the tarmac. It was finally that.
Yeah.
And that's
He
all.
said
It was just
he really led up to that like with half a swing. I sold so many tickets, they were going to add another show. It's like, oh, that's pretty common.
They added 10
sold
more
so many
chairs.
tickets-
They
sold so
put
many
12
tickets that
more.
they built a new building or something.
They put pillows on the ground. There's going to be people sitting on the ground, Mike.
I sold so many fucking tickets you couldn't get your mind around it. Now we're getting into a little stuttering John, where it's like, and
Yes.
they were all chanting my name.
But it's also the TikTok. He's like, I was on the plane. I was in seat 2A when like the text came in, and they're like, it's selling out, baby. He's like taking us to the moment. That is Stunt Joe. Stunt Joe's taking us in, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
a little bit. And then COVID and not being able to do the podcast, a lot of stuff like that. So, a lot of things go on in life. And
All right. This next one's called a hot. This next one's called a hot fucking second because he says it like 10 times.
Oh, okay.
They owned the world, Blind Mike, for a hot second.
Yeah, this is again where it's like it was a huge podcast, and it's still again comparatively to like ours or whatever. It's still a big podcast.
You got 220 in chat right now, Mike. You're a huge podcast, baby.
Try and do that, Callen, you prick.
7,000 in their chat. I hate this. We suck.
But yeah, this is a little revisionist history where he's like, we were the Beatles, baby. we couldn't walk down the street without girls ripping their tops off. We had it all.
All right. No, it's not Joe. It's Jackie Martling. This is Jackie Martling. we were the Beatles.
Yeah, because there's nothing we can do. Look, this is the situation.
it's fine.
We ran with the torch for a
killing it.
hot
It's
fucking
fine.
second.
We did have the torch for a hot
Yeah,
second.
10 years, dude.
10 years of fucking.
How many podcasts are out there now?
Hey, at least we get a lot of thanks. A little fucking respect for your elders, you fucks.
Wow,
Yeah, I mean,
there's such bitterness here. So I think, and this is, believe me, I understand I'm reading into it, but I think in his mind, what should have happened is Tony Hinchcliffe gets on the stage and goes, Tom, we'll get to you in a second. First, I want to thank Bryan Callen for being a trailblazer in podcasting.
The entire Callen family, really.
Yeah, I think in his mind, everyone should have stopped the evening to be like, he couldn't be here tonight, but how much do we all love Bryan Callen? And then the LA Forum erupts. Yes! Callen!
We're here to celebrate a man with 1 billion Super Bowl rings. But first, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge a actor on Children's Hospital.
The real man of the hour. The guy who did the funny accent in The Hangover.
It's just the lay of the land, bud.
It's the lay of the land. It's the lay of the land. It's all good. And I think if I really apply myself,
It's not all good.
by the time I'm 60, I'm going to blow the fuck up again.
I mean, he's being tongue in cheek there. I'll give him credit, but there is such a bitterness there where,